What's going on, everybody? Welcome in. It's the Wager Alarm Friday Night Ticket. I'm your host, Howard Bender. With me, of course, Craig Mish. And here we go, Craig. Week 14 of the NFL season, week 15 of the college season, and it is there's not a lot of games to sit and talk about as far as from the collegiate ranks with talking about the Golden Nugget contest here. How are you feeling about all the college games right now? It's like big rivalry week. You enjoying all that stuff?
Yeah, it's fun, but it's also, I got to say, it's a little sad because we've been doing this almost 4 months, every single Tuesday and Friday, and now we're nearing the end of I mean, we still have 40 games left, let's be honest, right? In college football, like 40 plus games, but it's not the same as having the full schedule every single week. And of course, like we did last year, we'll have our College Bowl preview. But we got to get there first. And this weekend, as you said, is a huge weekend in college football because it's going to determine, in all likelihood, I would say maybe one of the 4 teams in the college football playoff and potentially 2. It's just going to depend on what happens this weekend. Of course, as we're doing the live stream right now, Utah's playing in the Pac-12 championship against Oregon. Utah, pretty significant favorites, already down 10-0 in this game. And so if Utah was to lose and lose outright, forget about covering, that puts Oklahoma right there. Oklahoma, all they'll have to do is beat Baylor, and Oklahoma's a 9-point favorite in the Big 12 championship tomorrow. And Howard, if Baylor was to beat Oklahoma and this was to happen tonight, then I don't know. I don't know the answer. So like somebody will have to tell me what happens at that point. I'm not really sure. I'm guessing they would put maybe Baylor in at that point because they're close enough in the top 10. But I don't. I couldn't say. I mean, the Pac-12, everyone has been pushing for Utah to get in there because they've had such a good season, and they start off this game already in their
into the top 4. Come on.
Well, I mean, who do you got? I mean,
now, all right. So right now you got Ohio State.
That's for sure.
LSU.
Absolutely.
Georgia.
No.
Georgia's
4, but yes.
Yeah, okay, so Georgia's 4.
But the 3 is really the one, let's be honest.
The 3 is really the one. And then what about Clemson?
Yeah, the Clemson's the best team in college football. But yes, they're the 3. Mm-hmm.
So if Georgia beats LSU,
then it's completely wacky, but yeah, right? If Georgia beats LSU, they both get in.
So there you go. So I just gave you your top 4.
But what happens if LSU beats Georgia, which they're supposed to do?
Well, then somebody sneaks in Alabama.
You want to put Alabama in again? Stop it.
I have no desire to put Alabama in. To be perfectly honest, I have no desire to put Alabama in.
Alabama's out.
I would love to see it be a non-SEC team. How about that?
Yeah, there won't be a lot of choices. Look, I've seen wacky stuff like this happen before when they had the BCS, but look, again, it's Friday night. We got to let this game play out here before we get crazy.
No, I want to get crazy, Craig.
You want to get crazy?
Then let's get crazy.
If LSU beats Georgia, which is expected to happen, then the top 3 teams, and all we're doing is waiting for the 4th. And then Oklahoma has their showdown with Baylor, and we'll see. I mean, Wisconsin is not that far out. What if it's Wisconsin? If all these things happen and Wisconsin beats Ohio State, I mean, I suppose it would be mayhem, but I'm not expecting that to happen.
You know what? The one thing I'm most happy about, it's not Notre Dame.
It is not Notre Dame. And a lot of people feel like Utah could end up looking like Notre Dame if they end up playing Ohio State. I don't know. Maybe. But Zach Moss is better than anybody that Notre Dame had last year. So,
all right. Well, we're going to see how it all sorts out. We are talking our Golden Nugget picks. And you know what? We might as well just bring the heat right there because we are taking...
Well, before we do all that, let's say one other thing.
Come on.
We got one other thing.
Stealing my thunder. What now? You want to say hi to Monkey Knife Fight? Is that what you want to do?
I want to say congratulations to everybody at Fantasy Alarm and Wager Alarm for all the awards that have been nominated, including this live stream. And congratulations to you for the nomination, not just for this, but also for, of course, the show of the year and the social media awards and everything else for Fantasy Alarm and Wager Alarm. And I, of course, was nominated for
Sports Betting Analyst of the Year.
Sports Betting Analyst of the Year, which would be really interesting to see if there's a chance that I would win that one. You can vote online for me if you like. But either way, the important part of it is that we're getting recognized for the work that we're doing here. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. There are a lot of people in the industry who do a phenomenal job with sports betting, takes away nothing from anyone, including myself, including Howard and anybody else. This is not about that. But what we are about is putting our money where our mouth is and putting stake in the game. And Howard and I have thousands of dollars every week on the line in the Super Contest, thousands of dollars every week on the line in the Golden Nugget. It is our money. We're involved in it. So while we could just sit here and do picks for you guys on the air
and then lie about it afterwards,
and then or not even bet it, rest assured, we take this really seriously because we want to win. But in the end, we also understand that these are transparent records. People can go to the Golden Nugget website and see what our record is and see what our record is in the Super Contest. And our first goal, of course, is to finish over 500 because that's really important. You want to be somewhere between 50 and 55% at the end of the season. That shows that you've been on the right side a lot. The second part is, of course, cashing, which we didn't do last year, but we would like to do this year, and we'll see how it works out. But just so everybody knows, in terms of sports wagering, there's no indictment on anybody else. There are a lot of people I know that give great advice, that do things like this, that don't wager at all. And certainly that's fine too. But you guys should know that when people like us are nominated for awards, just know that this is not mommy and daddy's money. This is our money. We put it in at the beginning of the year. We actually have a proxy for those people who aren't familiar. We use a proxy service in Las Vegas that puts the picks in for us. We put in the Golden Nugget ticket contest on Friday. We put in the Super Contest on Saturday. And you guys can go to both of those websites. In addition, Howard's been posting all of our tickets all season long from Wager Alarm. And going back 2 years, you are not going to find, I don't think, any company that does it like we do it with a higher winning percentage if you added up all 3 years of the contest, really. And that's something to be proud of.
Well, congratulations to you, Craig. Very well deserved. You are my college football rock. You know you're my college football rock.
We've done okay in college football. We did not do as well as we did last year, and it's funny that I mention this because we did not enter a contest last year, and I felt like it was a little bit irresponsible of us going into this year to just do college football picks again. Even though we did well, I felt like we had to have stake in it, and so I approached Howard at the beginning of the season. I said, you know what? The Golden Nugget, they do college football contests where we pay, and I think it's important that we get in this one and that we back up what we're saying financially. And so we did, and so here we are.
And here we are. We don't get to play over-unders in college.
If we did, it would help. It would help a little bit.
That was like our bread and butter.
Yeah, we really did well with the totals. We did. I would probably hit 60%, I would say, for the year on the totals. Yeah.
I'd say so. Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's talk about the Golden Nugget contest. Let's talk about the games that we're looking at. Again, only a small handful of college games really on the slate available to us. We opted not to go with the Utah-Oregon game tonight.
Yeah, good move. I probably would have taken Utah, honestly. Yeah, probably so. Yeah.
So let's talk about the games that we are going to take, that we are looking at, and yes, let's do it. It's the big one, man. It's the big one. You're telling me that you're taking Georgia.
I do. I like Georgia.
Points.
Yeah, I do. I like Georgia.
Still going to have LSU win this game. Georgia's not going to win this outright.
I think that Georgia has the game script that can beat LSU. They have a better defense than Alabama this year. Mm-hmm. They have an equal or better running game. And I think that their quarterbacking situation with Jake Fromm and their receivers and their running back DeAndre Swift is comparable to Alabama. I have not seen LSU stop anybody on the ground consistently all year. That includes Mississippi. So I think that this is a lower scoring game than what people would expect. I know that's a little bit dangerous based on some of the games we've seen in the SEC, especially with LSU. Also Alabama, Auburn last week. Oh my gosh, there were like 90 points scored in that game. But I do think that the Bulldogs are going to have a real chance to keep it close. Based on what I've seen the last few years, I think that there is a chance that this even goes to overtime. So as far as I'm concerned, I think that this is going to be a really interesting finish coming up on Saturday.
No doubt about it. I'm very much looking forward to it. Again, I'm not like, diving headfirst into the there's a ghost in your place, Craig.
We've got some interruptions going on here in the background.
It's like a CNN broadcast.
Right. I don't know what that is about. So. We may have one more, I have a feeling, before it's all over.
All right, so that's the big game we're going for.
I think somebody was in need of a charger. I have a feeling.
That's what it is. That's what it is. You got to pre-charge that iPad.
I know.
Pre-charge it.
I should have done that before we started. So, first pick, Georgia +7.
Georgia +7, which I like. I really like it. I mean, everybody's saying it's going to be LSU. I like your beat on this game. I like what we're doing here for this one. I also like taking the fact that we're going Baylor +8.5 against Oklahoma.
And that's 9 now. Okay, so let's talk about this game here a little bit. You know, this narrative that we've kind of bought into a little bit this year that has worked out quite a bit is finding a team that's super motivated. And Baylor this week, I think they have a shot.
I do too. Listen, Baylor's been good to us this year. We've taken Baylor or Baylor games, I think 3 times, probably in like the last 6 weeks. I think we did pretty well on that. So I'm comfortable with this one. Again, I think Oklahoma wins this game outright, but I think Baylor keeps.
Is there a bigger game in the history of Baylor school than there was a couple of weeks ago when they covered? They blew it against Oklahoma. This is their chance for redemption. I agree with you. I don't think they're going to win the game. I think they're going to have a hard time stopping Oklahoma. Oklahoma outgained them by like 200 yards in that game. They turned the ball over a lot in the first half. I love the coach of Baylor, Matt Rule. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to be an NFL coach probably in 2 or 3 years. I'm with you. I can't pick Baylor to outright upset the Sooners, but if you're telling me Oklahoma can almost lose to Baylor and lose outright to Kansas State, why can't Baylor keep this thing close? Why can't they stay within a touchdown? So I want to take the points here again, and I know the line's going up, and I think by tomorrow at kickoff it's going to be 9.5, but double dogs here on Saturday in college football. And I got to tell you, go back to last year too. It's not always riding dogs happens in the NFL. You don't always want to do it in college, but in these conference championship games, when it gets down to the end of the season, crazy things happen. So we'll take Georgia and Baylor. Yeah, at worst, we're going to split. I know one of these two teams is going to cover.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I look at the Oklahoma-Baylor game, and I think that if Baylor really does want to avenge that previous loss, that they either do keep it super, super close, or this is even one of those ends up going into overtime kind of games, which I'll take no matter what. I mean, if this one goes into OT, sure. That's a win for us. So yeah, I like that one.
And that was one of the more shocking finishes to any game football, college or pro, all season long. The way that Baylor blew that game. I remember texting you like, we won, but like, man, like what the heck? Like we almost lost that game being up 31-10.
Yeah, why are you going to bring back those memories right now? Now you're just going to stress me out.
Yeah, but again, we'll take Baylor here. Look, a lot of the other games aren't that juicy. I think Appalachian State's the third one we're going to take, right?
That is the third one.
Yeah, Appalachian
Our good friends at University of Louisiana Lafayette.
Yeah, Louisiana Lafayette's been a good team. Appalachian State is a lot more experienced, and last year playing in the conference championship game, they really didn't show up. I think they will this year. There's not a lot of analysis here. I got to tell you, Howard, we don't have a lot of games to choose from here, and I don't feel comfortable picking 5 NFL games after we already have to do it in the Super Contest. So I wanted to lean on college as much as I possibly could. And without a ton of analysis and just looking at the line, App State's a -6. Lafayette, there are some people feel like their offense is good enough to stay with Appalachian State. I think they wear them down late. This game reminds me maybe of like a 17-17 at the half. Both teams kind of score back and forth running the ball. But I think the Mountaineers in the end up winning it. So we'll take Appalachian State in this one.
There you go. So that's what we're doing. Actually, those are the only 3 college games that we're going to take. We're passing.
We don't have a lot of choices. Yeah.
No, we don't. We're passing on Central Michigan against Miami of Ohio. I have no interest in that one.
Yeah.
Memphis, Cincinnati. They just played a couple of weeks ago. So
last week.
Was it last week? I thought it was 2 weeks ago.
No, it was last week.
I've been out of touch. And then Boise State laying 14 against Hawaii.
Hawaii's horrible as a favorite. Pretty good as a dog. Boise State has really come on strong at the end of the season. They kind of rotate quarterbacks at times. It's a big line. I mean, I could see Hawaii maybe keeping it close, but Boise has been a monster down the stretch here. So I just want to pass that one. Hawaii hasn't been in this spot either, like forever in this kind of Mountain West championship game. So
no, and we're passing on Ohio State, Wisconsin. Again, that's a 16.5-point spread in the Super Contest. And
I mean, after Ohio State can't cover. Well, Ohio State can't cover against Penn State, so everyone takes Michigan. They blow out Michigan, but it looked like Michigan in the first half was the better pick. I mean, these are not games that I want to get involved in. I mean, we don't really have much of a choice, but the games that are on national television with the lines that are tight and everybody knows the players, it's very hard to get edges that way. You know, you're not going to see a lot of line movement there. So, so I would definitely take Clemson. Of all of the picks that were left, I would take Clemson. Yeah, against. I don't think Virginia is good at all. And when we go, if Virginia plays Florida in the bowl game, we are taking the Gators against Virginia in that bowl game. I don't think that the ACC is really, really down this year. This has not been a good conference year for the ACC. You could say that a lot of years with them, but It is Clemson, and I don't even know who's second, honestly. Like second best team in the ACC, maybe Wake Forest. I don't even know. There isn't a second. All Virginia is actually the second, and they're not that good.
They're terrible.
Virginia Tech, awful start, great finish. Then they blew it last week, too, against Virginia. So not interested in that conference this year.
All right. So Appalachian State -6. Yep. We're taking that. We're taking Georgia +7. We're taking Baylor +8.5. Now, to round out our picks, that means we need 4 games in the NFL that we wanted to take. And let's start it off with the Buffalo Bills.
Sure.
Going up this is a funny one here because a lot of people are just assuming that Baltimore is just going to steamroll in this, and I think Buffalo does a good job against the run. I hate the game is in Buffalo, like from a Baltimore perspective. I'd hate to have to travel to Buffalo in the winter to deal with this. They don't have a strong receiving core, so it's a lot of groundwork, and Buffalo can really do a good job stuffing that. They, from what I've looked at through the fantasy world, Buffalo they stifle the quarterback position, and that's really where we're at. I think that do I think that the Ravens win this game? Yeah, I do, but I think this is more of like, hey, Justin Tucker kicking a field goal at the end, so that this game turns into from 14 all to 17-14.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Ravens. You got to give them more credit than basically any team in the NFL this season because week after week they get up for these big games, man. Like they've played in so many big ones, they get up for them and they win and they cover. There's gotta be a drop back. I mean, the Ravens, are they going 14-2? Like, are they really? I don't think so. I think the Bills are going to win this game. I think Buffalo's got a good shot in this one to win, and that doesn't mean that I think that I feel like Buffalo is better than Baltimore because I don't. But, boy, what a great environment that is going to be. It's going to be nuts. The Bills are basically playing for a clinched playoff spot. If they win, they clinch the playoffs. And who would have thought that at the beginning of the season?
If Buffalo wins this one, they get their 9th win. Does that put you on the over from your win total?
They already hit it.
Well, they already hit it. Okay.
Last week, they hit it. The Buffalo's one of 3 teams in the NFL that have gone over the NFL win total. That's it. It's amazing. So Buffalo will be on the over. We hit that one. Now, as it pertains to the Bills, again, you're getting 5.5 points in this one. Like, as long as they don't get blown out, they're going to cover. I feel like they will. I feel like they can control the clock. The guy that I've been really impressed with on Buffalo, and I've talked about John Brown a lot, but Beasley has really become a weapon for Josh Allen. And I'll tell you this. Josh Allen is not going to get any MVP votes. He's not going to win the MVP. But, boy, this would be a huge statement game if this guy can win this game, too. He's already lofted himself from, 24th best quarterback maybe going into the year, 23rd. Maybe higher than that. Maybe I'm being too tough. Maybe 20th best. But I think he's in the top 10, and this would be a monster win for them. So, look, some of it is me willing Buffalo to win because, of course, we have the pick. Right. But I do think that they cover at the very least, and I like the fact, as you said, the way that this could play out. Give me the end of the game where the game is tied, and Baltimore has the ball, and we know that guy Tucker's going to kick a field goal, and we go home with the cover. I don't want a bad kicker in that spot that's going to miss it, and then all of a sudden we're heading to overtime. Baltimore scores, we push, or we lose actually in that one. So I think this is going to be a big big upset week in the NFL. I do.
I love it. Because that's what we're doing, baby. We're taking the dogs.
We're going all dogs, yeah.
We're going all dogs here. Next one, Cardinals +3 going up against the Steelers. You think the Cardinals hanging with the Steelers? This is the one pick that I'm a little unsure of. Yeah.
Big overreaction to that loss last week against the Rams. Look, if you're telling me Kyler Murray's not 100% healthy and maybe something's up with him, then let's take this pick out. But I watched that game last week. I really didn't see it. I just thought that they had a bad game, and I thought that the Rams had a really good game plan against them. Like, everybody finally realizes we just have to not only throw to the tight end, but we have to throw. You just have to consistently throw on Arizona, and I think they may not win a game the rest of the year after this week because the Steelers cannot be this big a favorite on the road over any team in the NFL. I give them a ton of credit too, but you're missing Juju. You're missing Connor. Is Pouncey back for this game? He is, right?
Pouncey is back, yeah.
Yeah, he comes back for this game. Hodges has done a nice job, yes, but I think Arizona's still playing to win. They're not tanking or anything like that. They're not in a position for a draft pick, although they are close. But the Steelers have been our friend. I know all season long. I got to go against it, though, here. I think Arizona wins the game. I do.
I'll concede this one here because you conceded one to me, and we'll get to that one in just a second. But another one that we both agreed on here, we're going to take the Raiders +2.5 against the Titans. Really what it comes down to right now is, can the Raiders stop Derrick Henry? Because once the calendar flips to November, Derrick Henry suddenly remembers that he's an NFL running back. He's averaging something in the neighborhood of like 5.8, 5.9 yards per carry after November. And it's been quite the ride. But
do you realize the Titans lost a game 21-0 this year at home? And we took them, in that week.
That was back in the Mariota days.
Yeah, it's amazing and the Titans have completely transformed. I thought last week was a week to fade them. We took the Colts. But I want to go back to that again. And as I said last week, I don't have many regrets all year long. But as we did this live stream last week, I told you if I knew Hilton was out, I don't know that I would have taken it. I think it's rare to have a player that's a wide receiver that's not a huge name be so important. But because of the quarterback, I think that Hilton is a key for the Colts. I can't back them without him. I just can't do it. I'm not a believer in Tennessee. I'm not. I think that this is like some teams over the last few years do this. The Chargers find a way to lose. The Lions always start off good, then they fade. Tennessee always starts off bad. They kind of drag you in a little bit, and then they get in the playoffs, they get whacked right away. I mean, they could go 9-7 and get in, but I think that this is a fade spot for me. I don't think the Raiders are as bad as they've shown over the last couple of weeks. They've been blown out against the Jets. They've been blown out against the Chiefs. And 2 weeks ago, if I would have asked you, okay, Tennessee at Oakland, what's the spread? Tennessee at Oakland. You would have said Oakland minimum 3-point favorites, minimum, based on the way that they were playing. I understand they've gone the other way. We're getting home points with a dog. Another team, I think, that has a chance to win the game outright. I'm not done with the Raiders yet. I still think that they can compete, and I'm not sold on the Titans. But again, they've played great. Don't look at last week's game. That game was really close right until the third quarter, and then Brissett made all kinds of mistakes. Remember, they were missing field goals and extra points again with Vinatieri.
Raiders 5-1 at home. The
Raiders are not bad. They should. The Raiders.
They're home. Their last two losses against the Jets and the Chiefs, both on the road. Before that, they played 3 straight games where they won against the Lions, the Chargers, and the Bengals. They were on the road against the Texans. They lost. They were on the road.
But they covered that game.
Yes, they did cover that game. They lost to the Packers in Green Bay. They did not cover that one.
They should have covered that one. Carr ran in the end zone and fumbled the ball, and it went out of bounds.
That game got out of hand, dude. That game got crazy out of
hand.
Listen,
I don't. The Raiders may not make the playoffs, but I think that they should be at least a pick 'em in this game. I think the line is off.
Oh, listen, I'm with you, and I'm perfectly happy taking the Raiders in this game, no doubt about it. And I know that it's going to be unpopular with everybody looking at. I mean, listen, Tannehill's 5-1 as a starter for the Titans. He's got like 12 touchdowns to 3 picks, and he's playing efficiently. That's what he's doing. He's playing efficiently. But
the Raiders will not be a popular pick, I don't think, in the contest this week. I feel like Buffalo probably will, but because people are going to look at it the same way as us. Like eventually, the Ravens are going to fall. So that'll be our danger zone. But I think of those picks, I still do like those home dogs. I don't think Arizona's quit. I mean, I don't feel like they've quit. But look, that could be the case. I know the Raiders haven't quit either. But we'll see if they can help us out. At some point
Sunday, one of us will get a text with oh, dude.
What are we thinking? How did we do that?
What you hope
That was
wrong.
A terrible pick.
Or maybe we'll save that for our Monday night because, yes, that's right. Yes. We are taking the Monday night game. We're taking the Giants. We're taking the 9.5 points. Craig is buying into, or he's at least accepting the fact that I'm running down narrative street on this one. Listen, I get it. The Giants, not a great team. They have not been a great team all year long. Saquon Barkley has been a massive disappointment. I'll give you that. They've been dealing with injuries. Their secondary is atrocious. But you're talking about a division game against the Eagles, who, let's face it, Carson Wentz hasn't been the be-all, end-all. He actually looked good last week in a loss to the Dolphins. So I'm not too sold here on the Eagles in a division game with a 9.5 point spread, and then the walk down narrative street is that Eli Manning is under center. It's not Daniel Jones. Eli Manning, people, has a career record of 116 and 116. This game right here will be his last game as a starting quarterback in the NFL because Daniel Jones will be back the week after, and the Giants want him to be back after. But they're going to give Eli this Monday Night Football moment to set his record at 117 and 116 to go down the record books as a winning NFL quarterback.
Yeah, for sure. And I got to say that this is one of those live streams that getting quite the interruption. We're live.
Does that glare work?
Wow. So I can't back Philadelphia. I mean, that's just about after watching what I saw last week. It was funny. I remember watching that game last week against the Dolphins and going into the game, looking at it and them just glowing about the Eagles defense and Jim Schwartz and how good he's played or how good he's coached the defense. They looked so bad, Howard. I don't know what in the world's going. And again, Dallas, a 3-point favorite in that same NFC East, goes into Chicago. Looks like they don't even belong on the same field. Nothing would surprise me in this game. Again, road underdogs all season long, almost 65% covering the spread. This is a trend that continues to just give back. So why not continue to do that? I think the Eagles are in big trouble. And there's a really good chance that division winner in the NL East, baseball's on my mind, in the NFC East is 7-9. Is there going to be an 8-8 winner? I don't even know. I don't think so.
I don't know. The Redskins could end up taking this division.
Yeah, somebody tweeted out that it was funny. The Redskins could have the number 1 pick in the draft or make the playoffs. It's crazy, right? It's not impossible.
It's not. It's bad. It is bad. So there you go, guys. Those are the games that we're taking. Just to recap it here, for the college, Appalachian State -6, Baylor +8.5, Georgia +7. In the NFL, Bills +5.5, Cardinals +3, Raiders +2.5, Giants +9.5. We are all in on the dogs, baby. All in on the dogs, with the exception of Appalachian State. And come on, it's Appalachian State, so just a genuine dog to be frank. So that's our Golden Nugget ticket. Yeah. Once that comes back to me, I will post that over on wageralarm.com. That way, in case you want to take a look, you want to piggyback some of them, maybe you're getting better spreads, better numbers than what we're getting here in the contest, so you can make your picks from there. Now, say hi to Monkey Knife Fight, our sponsors for the live stream. FantasyAlarm.com/monkey will give you it's like a $10 match deposit for your first deposit over there. If you dig the prop games and you like playing them, jump onto Monkey Knife Fight. FantasyAlarm.com has a Monkey Knife Fight playbook to take a look at. So again, big shout out to those guys. Thank you for sponsoring our Wager Alarm live stream. Again, it's FantasyAlarm.com/monkey. Now, Westgate Super Contest, here we go. We're sticking with the Bills.
Right. So
because it's plus 5.5.
Mm-hmm.
We're sticking with the Raiders at plus 2.5, and we're sticking with the Giants
plus 9
at plus 9.5. We are booting out the Cardinals.
Right, because the Cardinals were getting 3 in the Golden Nugget, but in the Super Contest, it's a 2.5. That's a key number, so we're going to move away from that one.
We are going to move away from that one, and what we are going to do in return is we're going to go with another 2.5 game, actually. We're going to take the 49ers.
Yeah.
On the road in New Orleans, plus 2.5 against Drew Brees and those Saints.
Have the Saints had an impressive game? I mean, I would say they played well on Thanksgiving against Atlanta. Great, right? And they almost let Atlanta come back in that game with those onside kicks. Honestly, this reminds me of Saints teams of old. I was so much more confident in them in September and October with Breeze coming back and that defense playing great. Their defense is falling apart again. I don't know what's going on there. So maybe it's Lattimore. I'm not really sure. But I think San Francisco is the best team in the NFC. I think that the 49ers, despite having probably some moles that people don't like, I think that they will represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. And I think they win the game outright. I do. I think they got a really good shot in this one. I think there'll probably be a low-scoring game. Maybe a field goal decides it. We're getting 2.5 points. Road dogs are covering like crazy. Why are we going to go against that trend? It wouldn't make any sense. Breeze at home, of course, has a phenomenal record. Not as good against the spread as it is straight up. Almost doesn't lose there in the Superdome. But I thought the 49ers played fantastic against Baltimore last week. Fantastic, especially in the second half. I thought they played great. They'll be able to run the ball, I think, a little bit. I think the Niners win.
Yeah. All right. Listen, I'm more than happy to do that. Again, you've also looking at the 2.5. I do get a little nervous when you've got a guy like Will Lutz kicking for the Saints, and that's he's got a good solid leg. He's got good distance on that. But I mean, again, overall, I think that we're looking at the road dogs, and we're looking at how they're covering right now. We're looking at the way San Francisco has played. The funny thing is that the ground game, Raheem Mostert's been okay. He's been good, but that's the where the Saints come in as far as good solid run D.
Sure.
The passing game, that's the thing. This is all going to come down to Jimmy G and really whether or not he can sling the rock. You're going to have Emmanuel Sanders and Marshawn Lattimore matched up, which is then going to put Kendrick Bourne against P.J. Williams, and P.J. Williams is the worst slot corner in the game. And then Eli Apple on Deebo Samuel, who, let's face it, Deebo Samuel, good tight physical receiver, who I think is more than Eli Apple can handle. And now also let's throw in George Kittle, who's expected to play.
Yeah. So, I think we've pretty much nailed that one.
Okay. And then our final game, we're sticking with the dogs, and I love this one here. Only because I love going against the Browns. When everybody says the Browns are going to do well and the Browns are going to make the playoffs, the Browns.
This will be the most picked game, I think, in the Super Contest this week. I think this will be the most selected game. I mean, that's the only reason why.
You think everyone's taking the Bengals with us?
Yeah, I think you have to. Yeah, I think you have to. I mean, how would the
points, what's the line right now? What's the actual line?
7.
Is that it's down to only 7?
Yeah, it's 7 for sure. Yeah. I don't even have to look. I looked earlier. Yeah.
Backdoor cover.
Out of the Browns could be 3-point favorites in this game. Maybe 4.5. 7? No. Over any team in the NFL? Who are they beating by 7? Miami?
Yeah, that's about it.
That's it. They beat the Ravens in that lucky game we actually had the Browns that week, but that's it. So
we did have that one pegged. That was
probably the biggest upset of the year.
You. I thought I was going to text
you. It was just a good
spot.
It was just a good spot. That was all.
It really was. It really was. But yeah, listen, I have no problem going against the Browns in this one. It's just too many points. It's 8.5 points. It's too many points.
So we'll take it. So those are our 5 picks for the Super Contest, and then next week I'll be at the winter meetings. So hopefully we have a good week, and you'll be able to recap that with a special guest of some kind, and then I'll be back next Friday night. We'll preview your favorite game of all, the Army-Navy game. And then we'll do the NFL games, but only one college game. And then we have the bowl games following week. By the way, Navy -4 is against Army right now. That's the line.
I'll take Navy.
You like Navy, huh?
And I'll lay those points, baby.
You're a big Navy guy, right? Yeah.
Love it. All right. Well, then there you go.
Let me tell you how the Army Navy game goes every year. 7-0, 7-7. 14-7, 14-14. 17-17, 20-17. 20-20, it's the fourth. What happens? That's every Army Navy game. Pretty much every single one.
Don't try to take the wind out of my sails, Craig Mish. Go Navy.
We got it right last year.
We did.
We had Army. We got it right.
We did like that. Now we're going to go Navy.
Go Navy.
So that's going to do it for us here at Wager Alarm live stream. Big thanks, everybody. Check back later on tonight. We'll post the ticket for the Golden Nugget. Tomorrow I will post the ticket from the Westgate Super Contest. Big thanks to our producer, Matt Sells, always for the great work that he does. For Craig Mish, I'm Howard Bender, and we'll catch you next time.